Welcome to another edition of the Business and Personal Podcast, where we bring you closer to the people you do business with. And we're thrilled today to have Angie Grimm on with us. She's the lead college funding professional at College Solutions LLC. And college funding is a challenge for everyone. Everybody's always looking for advice and tips and the best way to attack it. And Angie's here to help provide some expertise. So Angie, first of all, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, Ryan.
So it's the Business and Personal Podcast. So tell people a little bit about yourself and how you ended up at College Solutions.
Yeah, well, like you said, I live in Amarillo, Texas. My husband and I are now for sure empty nesters. We have kids that are 25 and 27, so we've already taken our own kids through this process. And I help parents in the late stage planning process with their students navigate the right fit college academically, socially, and financially. And I've been a part of this firm since 2009. And I kind of stumbled upon it with the people I know here and wanting to get back in the career world, and was presented the opportunity to learn how college funding works as a financial professional, and just dug into it, become an expert in financial aid and an expert in how people can help their kids without wrecking their retirement and going broke.
Definitely a big concern that people have, and that starting earlier is always important. But before we get into the financial side of it, just from a narrowing down of choices standpoint, there's so many options, so many different schools out there. What's the best way for someone to just kind of start to narrow down which schools they want to attend?
Right. We always like to suggest to people to start researching in your own backyard. What do your state schools have to offer? Even what do your local community colleges have to offer? And then maybe expand from there. What we've found with students is they tend to really get on the internet. Now, obviously, we're information age and we can Google anything. But what we found with younger students is they're starting to maybe get a little more reliant on internet searches of things that are 5 states away or 2 plane rides away, where maybe their mom doesn't want to send them. So start in a local area where you can drive for a visit. And then you've got to start investigating, does this college have the 1 or 2 majors that I'm interested in? Now, if you're not knowing what that is, a career interest value assessment is good for kiddos to start taking in high school to understand, what are my natural abilities and what am I really geared to do? Because they can't really tell you the day in the life of, say, an accountant or an engineer. If that's something they're, looking towards, they need to investigate that. But I always say starting local is a really great place to start.
And is there a certain time in high school where they should have it narrowed down to a handful of schools or less, usually?
Yeah, I mean, freshman, sophomore year, people need to start thinking about this and crafting a good transcript and taking challenging classes. But end of sophomore year into junior, that's when you really should begin those visits to do what I call get your boots on the ground. Go see what they have to offer. Talk to those academic representatives to say, are you really going to help my student get out of here in 4 years? And what opportunities? We say you need to shop the college, not the other way around. Don't let them market and shop to you. You need to go see what they have to offer if you're considering spending $100,000 or more at that school. And then by senior year, you really should have 4 to 5 comparable schools narrowed down when that application process starts August of your senior year. So really, that's a 4-year thing that used to be 4 years, kind of condensed into 3, because senior year is when the work happens.
Then on the flip side, nowadays, what are colleges looking for in prospective students? What are some things they should be doing to make their resume, so to speak, look shinier?
Right. Well, one is your academics. That's first and foremost. How well are you doing in the classroom? And are you challenging yourself? Are you taking, challenging curriculum like AP classes that might be offered, dual credit, things like that? Are you trying to achieve with challenging curriculum that you are able to pursue? So that's called strength of transcript at the end. So high GPA with challenging classes, and then SAT, ACT test scores come alongside of that, junior into senior year. And then a well-rounded resume. Are you participating in a couple activities? Have you taken leadership positions in those? Are you volunteering? Are you in, sports or extracurriculars, or do things out in the community? Are you working? So they do want a well-rounded student, and most large colleges are looking from the point of, what will you bring to our campus? What will you bring to our campus to enrich the experience here, up the level of students, in the classroom, to, be successful with our mission? So they really are looking more and more about what are you bringing to the table, and can you be successful here, and can we educate you, in a 4-year time span? So students have a lot they need to be pursuing and looking at to be pretty well-rounded.
It's more than just the grades. You need to be really, as you say, well-rounded in all areas. Now, in terms of paying for it, there's different groups of people. Some people were able to save early, some just life happened and they're scrambling at the end. But let's start with people that are in a position now that they could start saving early. What are some of the best ideas from an early standpoint to set them up to be ready to pay for it and handle inflation and all the things that are going to come along the way?
Yeah, savings is key, Ryan. I mean, most people come in and talk to us and say, Angie, I don't want loans. I don't want loans on my kiddo, because it's an epidemic. $1.8 trillion outstanding in student loan. It's a large problem in America, and most people want to try to avoid it. The key to avoiding that is intentional, real planning that has to start sophomore, junior year if you haven't done it. So saving at any capacity, you and your students start saving some money away. In the very least, at least start putting it away in your savings account. The reason I don't say start investing it is because you're 1 to 2 to maybe 3 years away from deploying that money. And most people don't want to risk investing money in the short run to be subjected to a large loss. So start compounding in your savings, but we also need to take a larger cross section of people's budget. Maybe there's money that they are unwillingly and unknowingly giving away to other areas that they could cut back on. 2, they have to be looking at, what are we doing long-term for retirement? Not that we're giving anybody specific advice on here, but a lot of people are overfunding their 401k more than the match, and they can't dip into their 401k or their IRA to pay for college. So maybe they need to reallocate to have more liquidity. The key to paying for college is a large liquid pool of dollar to offset what we might be exposed to if we have to take a private loan. And then some people look at, their home equity. Should they use value out of their home? You have to have a competent college funding person look at that situation before you decide you might want to get equity out of your house. But you just got to start, compounding your money, at least in a savings account at this point, while the rates are good. So you'll have equity later, right?
And, what about people that are late in the game and having to kind of figure this out on the fly? What is their best way to approach it?
Yeah, well, you have to start really budget planning for college. We've lost that in America, where we budget plan for pretty much everything else we do. We understand how much we might be able to afford in a car if we're going to go, get a new car. We certainly do when we're in a home buying process. The financing, institution qualifies us for how much. But Ryan, the colleges don't do that. They don't qualify you to see if you can afford their sticker price. So you need to start getting in the weeds of, what does this college cost per year, and the total cost of attendance, not just tuition. It's room and board and fees and books and those types of things. What is the sticker price of these schools, that you went to 20, 25, maybe even 30 years ago? There are a lot of misconceptions about cost. So you really need to start investigating the sticker price of these schools and try to start to learn, how much money, am I going to really have to spend at that school, and know what you're up against. It's hard to hit a target if you don't know what you're aiming at, right? So you've got to start investigating the cost of these schools so you understand how much resource you're going to have to come up with to put towards that cost.
And how much should we account for inflation too? Because obviously that's the key buzzword right now. And I can't imagine costs are going to drop over time. So how much should we factor in for that?
No, they haven't. I've been, like I said, doing this since 2009, never seen it frozen, or have never seen it stay the same or drop. So most colleges can increase 6 to 7% a year for tuition. And so if you're looking at cost now as a freshman, you've got to roll that up by maybe 25% by the time your kiddo is going to go there as a senior. So their costs do not keep, keep up with your cost of living allowance maybe from your work. And now when we are in high inflationary times, your salary isn't keeping up with that pace. So you have to be accounting for that type of percentage.
Another thing too is, I think college or community colleges, I should say, get a bad rap, and could be an excellent way if you're late in the game in funding to, for a couple of years, get a lesser cost, or in some areas, community colleges can be free. And then maybe go to a bigger school after that. So I guess a couple of questions on that. First of all, can you help people kind of get past the stigma of going to community college? And then how important is it to make sure you have a good, well-rounded group of classes you're taking? They're going to transition to most four-year colleges when you're done there.
Yeah, community college can be a fantastic place to start. Very affordable. Like you mentioned, some states have it for free, and some areas of your state might have different endowment funds. But it really doesn't matter where you start, it matters where you finish. So if you need to do that, I call most community colleges, Ryan, check writing doable. Even if you don't have an endowment fund that pays it, typically they're only $5,000 to $6,000 a year to get all of, that might take your student maybe a year to knock that out. If they come in with some dual credit, maybe 2 years. Most community colleges have advisory teams there to help them understand a transition to a university level. And what parents miss out on, and it's big myth that, hey, we're going to miss out on freshman year scholarships at a university if we delay. Many universities around the country have large transfer scholarships. And why? Because you're a proven risk. You got a 3.5 or a 3.8 or a 4.0 at your local community college. Now you are a proven college student to bring into their fold to say, all right, you're going to be a high success to graduate here in a couple of years. Sometimes I've had kiddos get higher transfer scholarships than what they would have year one going into freshman year. So parents need to research that too. What's the next step after that? So you had kind of really, I have to say, sell it to your student. Go tour it. Even if you think you know what your community college across town is doing, go take a tour. They are happy to show you around with all of their, buildings and programs that they have. There's, a community college in College Station that feeds into Texas A&M, which is now the largest undergrad college in the country. They have nearly 15,000 students. It's high academic prowess because they're all trying to help them, position them to transfer to A&M for a full degree, undergrad or bachelor degree. So there's no stigma attached around that junior college because some need to do it just to get in. So go take a look at it. Talk to those representatives. Don't assume you know everything that's going on at that smaller school.
Also, Angie, so for people that are kind of late in the game too, and just trying to scramble to pull together whatever money they can, there's scholarships, grants, all kinds of those available. What are the best ways for people to apply for, as many of those as they can?
Yeah, scholarships is a huge topic. We're trying to help students earn that money based off of their achievement. So the number one place to look for, Ryan, for scholarships is from the universities themselves for your students' merit. None of that takes into account any financial needs. So how did your student do in high school? Are they high achieving? Did they have high test score? They have excellent leadership abilities or athletic abilities coming in the door. The big money renewable comes from the colleges themselves. So that's where you should spend your time. The ancillary come from, say, you really need to look in your community with your high school. You need to talk to your employer. And then there are external searches you can follow, say like a platform like FastWeb or Going Merry. That's about 10% of the money. So you need to apply to, say, 100 or more of those scholarships to maybe get 8 or 9 of them. Plan on about a 10% rate of return. But that's your full-time job starting about September through May of your student's senior year to scour the internet. You won't get any scholarships if you don't apply. So apply away online. Put on those legitimate scholarship sites. You never ever have to pay to receive a scholarship. So there's a little scam warning for all your listeners that if they say, oh, put in here, come to this seminar to learn about tens of thousands, just pay $1,000. There's a scam warning for you there. Never have to pay to get one. Okay. So scour the internet, check with your local counselor on the things that they have. But the college and universities, based on your achievement, have the biggest amount of money renewable annually for your kiddo.
Awesome advice there. Just about like anything else in life, you're going to get out of it, what you put into it. So all it costs you is your time to apply for all those. Even if you only get one of them, it was probably worth your time,
Absolutely. Yep.
So just awesome advice all the way around. There's so much more we probably could cover, but the people that are still listening at this point are definitely very interested in your services. So what's the best way for them to reach out to you and try to work with you?
Yeah, so everything's right on our website, collegesolutionsllc.com. You can schedule a 30-minute complimentary consultation to find out, are you on track with planning for your kids' college? What else do you need to be doing? The other thing that we offer is an educational webinar. We do those several times a week, and people can sign up for those. So in a quick hour of time, we're educating people on the terms of financial aid, how do admissions work. And so a lot of people participate in that educational event first. Then they have the opportunity to come and talk to us. We offer a variety of things, but every family has a different amount of things they might need to engage in with us, from a full comprehensive handholding to maybe they just want to talk about the financial piece. And so we find out if you're a good fit for those things and then go right onto our website, one, to go to the educational webinar, two, to have that consultation directly with us. It's also, we have a very active Facebook page too, College Solutions LLC, but it's real easy to get a hold of us to, sit down and have a one-on-one conversation to see where you're at.
I look at you as a stress reliever because it's nothing but a stress ball when people think about paying for their kids' college, but it makes it so much easier when you can sit down with someone like yourself and break it down step by step along the way. So Angie, awesome advice here today. Thanks so much for joining us. And maybe we'll have you back on down the road as things change and evolve for kind of an update on how things look.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I appreciate it.